Hello and welcome. I gotta admit, I love our theme song. I think it just flat rocks. I'm so excited to be with you. Happy November 3rd, also known as Election Day here in the United States. I want to encourage everybody to get out there and let your voice be heard. Get out there and vote. Make sure you cast your ballot. Look online if you need help finding a ballot location near you. You know, it's truly an American freedom that we have to be able to elect our leaders. And I know whether you agree or disagree, it's still, we have the fundamental ability to go and vote. So I want to encourage each one of you to do just that. All right. Today, my name is Jay Stark. Not just today. My name is Jay Stark all the time. But I am joined by my co-host, Empty Chair. Unfortunately, Mr. Matt Snyder could not be with me today. He is missed in our thoughts and prayers as he is actually having taking some time with his family, much deserved, much needed. And so I don't have anyone to banter with for the first minute or two. So I'm going to make it a little less awkward, and I'm going to skip right to our guest for the week. You know, it's a lot of fun to be able to be on the podcast, to come to you live every single week, and then to have engaging conversations with several of the people that are either in the Renatus community or part of the Renatus home team. And today we have another esteemed member of the Renatus home team with us, none other than our very one and only Mr. Jacob Thorup.
Hello, I'm Jacob Thorup.
Thank you for announcing yourself so succinctly. Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm feeling good.
Feeling good?
Yep.
That's good. We like it when people are feeling good.
Got some Tylenol in me. Feeling pretty good.
All right.
Otherwise, I'd have some tooth pain. I got some dental work I got to go get taken care of.
Ah, gotcha.
Drugs are amazing.
That is a sound clip I do not need replayed over and over. Oh, yes. This is just another public service announcement. Go to the dentist. Get your dental work taken care of before you have to take painkillers.
Yep.
All right. So, Mr. Thorup, how long have you been with Renatus?
My first day at Renatus was, October 30th, 2018. So I'm just barely 2 years. 2 years in. So what are some of the experiences, the experiences that have led you to become part of the Renatus home team? Are you talking about like life experiences that kind of led me here?
I mean, kind of the professional work experience that contributes to your position here.
So I'm a video guy. I've always been a video guy, and I always knew I was going to be a video guy from 8th grade. So
all right. Unfortunately,
I didn't have as much mentorship as I probably should have. So I just kind of went and did anything and everything video that I could. And, you know, that's not a bad thing to do, but, you know, you got to kind of lock in on something eventually. So.
Right.
But, you know, my first video job was working for a wedding video company.
All right.
In Utah. And
those happen a lot here in Utah. Weddings.
Yeah, well, yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we got a culture of getting married. Anyways, but I didn't actually shoot any videos. I was the graphic duplicator. I duplicated videos. I sat down in this basement underneath this reception center, and I had this wall of VHS VCRs, and I'd pop tapes in, and I'd duplicate them and put labels on them. That's all I did. But anyways,
wait. I'm trying to imagine this in my head. You were sitting in front of a wall of VCRs, and you'd have to put one in and play it, and then record it onto the other VCRs.
So yeah, exactly. And this particular shop was, I mean, it wasn't ghetto per se, but I mean, they were just consumer VCRs from Best Buy. You know, they're the nice ones.
Right. What did they call those? The HD or UHDs or
VHS?
Yeah, well, they had the high definition.
Yeah,
VHS.
they had DVHS.
SVHS?
So you had SVHS, but they did have a high definition VHS, which was DVHS, which never caught on. That came in right as VHS was going out. And so, yeah.
Right.
kind of an interesting format. But yeah, anyways, so I did that. I actually worked at a movie theater for a little while. Worked at a high-end duplication house for a little bit, where I had another wall of VCRs, but it was like 100 VCRs, and I could control them all from one little place, and it was really cool. And always kind of filming things, and ended up working at a video sales company where we sold broadcast cameras and TV specialists in Salt Lake City for 5 years, and I was working towards actually working in production, and eventually went out and just was doing a lot of stuff in the evenings and on the weekends. I took classes at college, all the broadcast classes that they had to offer, and then their film classes, took all those courses at the local community college, and eventually kind of set out on my own. Ran my own business for 10 years and made a lot of really pretty videos and made a lot of happy customers. Didn't make a lot of money, but I realized, especially since working here at Renatus, I did not know how to run a company at the time. And I'm not saying that I necessarily know how to now, but I have a better vague idea of how to do
a better vague idea, a less confusing, semi-clear, opaque idea of.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, and I worked with two of my brothers who are extremely talented. One is a kind of a traditional artist as far as he sketches and draws and does. Does some amazing work, and he's still full time doing motion graphics and visual effects for different YouTubers and films and things like that. And then the other brother, he was a programmer and went the programming route, and so he's doing really well on the programming side. So we all walked away with some good skills,
right? And
we're all doing better now. So
right on. That's pretty funny. So I feel like I've been with Renatus for almost a decade now, and it feels like in the beginning we would take large steps very slowly. So it took us a year before we moved out of the basement. Took us another couple years before we started the building here, and as programming has gone, and even with our AV, at first starting by taking our entire set up to the Davis Conference Center, filming, and then breaking it down and coming back, and and then trying to work with all of the video that we captured. But the point of my story is that in the last probably 3 years, I've seen steps starting to get closer together, meaning that we're taking bigger and bigger steps, and we're doing it faster and faster. So you've been here for 2 years now. What are some of the biggest evolutions that you've seen in Renatus over the time that you've been here?
So there's, one of the big things that we're working on right now is just towards the legal end of things, and compliance is the word I was looking for.
Compliance.
And part of compliance is the actual content that is being put out to different levels of the Renatus community, between the ICMs and educational holders and whatnot. And so there's the actual spoken content and what we show, but there's also the legal disclaimers that go at the front. And so traditionally those have just been, the course presenter, the practitioner instructor,
right?
He'll say, oh, hey, this is what's going on, just know that we're not making any promises, yada yada. And so we've really narrowed that in. But the issue with that is we have a very large library of video content, and it isn't like one course is one video. One course is 40 videos, generally speaking. And then on top of that, you have marketing videos. And so updating all of those with current disclaimers that make the state and other people happy with what we're doing,
right,
has been a big project. And that's been a lot of fun for me, because I've been able to kind of automate that project, that particular part of the video production process, and learn some new things as far as automating large amounts of videos to be updated all at once.
Nice,
so
right
that's
on.
been a lot of fun.
That's really cool. I know that Renatus is constantly looking to hold ourselves to the highest standard. So we're not being retroactive. We're trying to be proactive in making sure that we're satisfying these things ahead of time. And so it's cool that you're taking part and actually seeing some fun things come from that. Because I know that injecting legalese all the time is not necessarily the most enjoyable thing. Yeah. But that's pretty cool. So tell me a little bit about. You did our music video. Tell me a little bit about that, because I feel like that was a huge project.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So we do 3 versions of the music video every year. So we have all of and I mean, probably preaching to the choir with our audience, but the field submits videos that are somewhat coordinated with the music that we send out, and then the home team, or the corporate team, I guess is what we call ourselves now.
Corporate team.
Yeah. Corporate team Renatus. Then we generate our own music video, and then we do a mashup of those two.
Right.
And so last year, or for this year's, technically, we're still in 2019.
We are not in 2019.
Oh my gosh, we're not.
This is 2020, my
Where
friend.
am I? What year is it? 2020's music video. I got the opportunity to kind of head that one up and come up with a couple ideas, and I had kind of hey, you know what? If there were more or less no limits, here's an idea that I figured was going to get shot down, just because we still have limitations as far as budgets and time frame and whatnot, what we can do. And so at lunch one day we had Bob there, and I mentioned to him that I had this script that I wrote that I think's really cool, but it might not fall within what type of effort we want to put into it.
Right.
And so Bob's like, well, go ahead and read it. And so I read it to everyone here at corporate, and Bob's like, we can do that? And I was like, yeah, I mean, time and effort. And he's like, well, let's do it. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And so we did spend more time than we normally spend on it, but we're able to do some neat visuals and exploding cars and robot clones.
Robot clones?
We got to
you diabolical madman.
And we got to beat up our accountant Danny. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
And so yeah, everyone got to play a fun role, and we had a good video. I enjoy looking back at that one. There's a lot of video projects that over the years you'll work on, and by the time you're done, you just don't want to see the project anymore. And usually, you wait a year and you come back and you're like, that wasn't as bad as I remember it. Okay, maybe I was being a little hard on myself. This one, I enjoyed it throughout, like clear up until, and I was like, that's a good little piece. Like, I like it. It's a good piece. So.
Oh yeah. So what are you doing this year?
This year, I believe it's our good friend Aaron.
Don't look at Aaron.
He's heading this one up. I have some ideas for visuals that I was going to throw at him, but yeah, it's in his court this year, so
nice.
It'll be good. It doesn't matter. The previous one, the Renatus Rock one, was really good too. Really enjoyed that theme and the whole rock theme on stage that we did.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
And so that was really neat to see him coordinate everyone, especially in such a tight time frame and everything we did. I really enjoyed that one too.
Right. Tell me what your experience is working with the home team, as far as how the environment here is, the atmosphere, how people work together, and all that fun stuff.
Such a positive group. And I think that goes back to leadership with Bob and you. But even when things are a little stressful, like, we can talk about serious things and have important conversations, but without having kind of like angsty feelings towards each other later.
Right.
And that's been a very fun environment to work in. I've really enjoyed it. It's something where you don't realize how good you got it until you've been somewhere where it's nowhere near that good. So I had, early in my career as a video dude, I was working at this private college, and I literally, like, my office was a closet. Like, they literally cleared out this closet, and they put me in it with
not metaphorically, literally.
Like, I was Harry Potter under the stairs. That's what it was.
Nice.
And we were developing this distance learning program with video and all these things before the internet was really ready for it, and we got it up and working, but I didn't realize how negative the environment was until I quit, went and worked somewhere else, and then I came back I don't know how long, like 6 months later, just to say hi to some friends, and it was like, it felt like this blanket of negativity just like landed on me when I walked in the door. like I hadn't even talked to anyone yet, but it was
Right.
just like my body knew. It was like, oh no, I know what this is, and at the time I was just so I just assumed that's just how it was, and I didn't think about how negative the environment was, but I came
Right.
back and I was like, wow. And so I had reference. So when I'm here, I'm like, I don't have that heavy, like, oh, I got to go to work on Monday. I'm like, hey, man, I got like this, and this I'd love to work on. And once I get some time, those are some cool side projects that'll,
Yeah.
benefit the company on some level. And then, these are the things that are on my list that we got to get out of the way. And
Yeah.
and it's a positive environment. So it's hard to beat.
One of my favorite things is when people come into the building for the very first time. People from either just far enough away that they've never been here before, and then they see the building, they walk in, they feel the energy here, and they're like, oh, it's real. I love that. I love that, just that moment that people have, and you're a huge factor in that. You add a lot of laughter, a lot of happy everywhere you go. You've always got great stories, and you always play just phenomenal characters with us. I think it's awesome.
Oh, thanks. It's fun to be silly every once in a while. So
yeah, I love it. So tell me a little bit more about some of your favorite projects that you've worked on. What was the very first project you worked on here?
When I came in, we had a hard drive that had gone bad, and so we were recovering a class, I believe, actually, and just seeing what we could do to recover that so we didn't have to reshoot it. Right. And it's interesting. I'd never really thought about this too much until I worked here, but I do really enjoy the problem-solving projects where it's kind of like, okay, we got to go and do something unique to fix this issue. And so that was one of the first big projects, and doing some catch-up work, getting courses back up and online for the education holders, new courses, reshot courses. And so that was the first big one, was just kind of catching up on a few of those things.
All right. So tell me, I know that as editors, as video editors, you get, like you said, an opportunity to watch these over and over and over.
Mm.
And you catch all the little things, you hear the little, I don't know, mistakes, flubs here and there. What was the very first class that you edited where you felt like, whoa, what did I just hear? What am I doing?
We were recutting something on a Chris Wilson class, I think.
Yeah.
And Chris Wilson, bless his heart, he has a political view, and he likes to share that a little bit in his
a little bit
his courses. And I must have been recutting or something. I can't remember what it was, or maybe Aaron was just showing me. I can't remember, but it was just like, oh, okay, so we got some real characters here. Like I love the instructors because they're not flat.
Right.
Oh, honestly, one of my favorite instructors, not that I have a favorite instructor.
Never.
Of course. But was actually Jeff Armstrong with notes.
Oh, yeah.
With the notes strategy, because he's a kind of a high energy guy, but unassuming. Like you meet him and he's got kind of this nasally voice a little bit, and he's dressed, just he's got a button-up shirt and slacks.
Right.
And
He
he's
looks
just coming
all
in from the office,
right.
and he comes and he's like, "Let me tell you about The Big Short," and he's sitting here and he's just telling you how we're going to stick it to the man through doing notes and becoming the bank, and he makes it exciting, and that's what most of the instructors do, is they make this otherwise kind of potentially boring content rather interesting. And
right.
And, if you're getting into real estate, there's kind of that inherent, like, oh, okay, wow, it's new information. It's interesting that way. But me, as kind of an outsider, I never had any interest in getting involved in real estate outside of owning my own house. And now I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I could do that.
Right.
Oh, wholesaling, huh? Okay, yeah, that's cool. Oh, Jay Massey, let's do some short-term rentals. Oh, wow.
That's always my problem, is I walk away from every single class going, that's my new favorite strategy.
Yeah.
I am getting started with that tomorrow.
Yeah, so me and the wife, so we were in the middle of getting ready to sell our first condo. We bought a condo years ago and just barely got to sell it this year. And a couple of years ago, we watched the buy and hold strategy, or something related to that. It might have been contracts or something. And I told my wife, I was like, hey, instead of selling it, let's rent this and, have income coming in. And then Jay Massey came in a week later and he's like, hey, let's do 3 days on short-term rentals. And I was like, hey, let's do short-term rentals instead of, a buy and hold long-term rental. And my wife got all excited about it because it was like playing Barbie doll dress up with the house. She got to decorate it and everything. And she just loved that to death. And we ran a successful short-term rental here in Bountiful, Utah, of all places, and it's interesting because the actual kind of monetizing wasn't the hard part. It was having a good experience, really, and knowing how to have an experience that you could have a positive. He doesn't really frame it that way necessarily,
right.
But one of the big takeaways with that class is know what's going on at your unit.
Yeah.
Without having cameras in your unit.
Right.
Right.
You know what? That's one of the things that stuck out to me the very first time I met Jay. Mm-hmm. Outside of the fact that he spells his name J period like I do, I thought I love how he always couches his information around what aligns with you, what makes you happy, and how can you be happy in your real estate investing experience. And so that's really interesting that you brought it up like that, because it's always resonated with me thinking about, does this really align with who I am, my ID as an investor?
Nice. Yeah. And I'm wondering if that's where I got it from. So one of the big transitions, I'm going to score over
No,
just
keep
for
going.
a second,
You're good.
But so I ran my own business for 10 years doing video production. Had no idea what I was doing outside of the video production itself, actually making money with it.
Right.
And so I just took every job and any job I could, just because we have to pay the bills. We can't say no to this. Let's drop the price another $1,000 and get the job type of thing, right? Which can be a strategy, but it was a race to the bottom for us. And
that's a good way of putting it.
It was, and we just couldn't figure out. We got to be better. We got to be able to make better videos. And in retrospect, I'm looking back at what we were making. I was like, we were there. We were beyond there. We should have been in a bigger market, really, at the end of the day. But we just never had a mentor to really kind of walk us through that financial process and the negotiating process. Anyways, so now I still do video production on the side for my old clients and some new clients, but I approach it completely different. And I'm wondering if that's from Jay Massey's class, because I don't approach it from how can I get this price low enough that they'll do the job. I do it from a standpoint of how much is this what will it take to have a good experience with this client. How am I know how to make a good video, but how am I going to walk away with this? So I want to work with them again. And so then I don't look at it from, oh man, the only way I'm going to get this job is if I, go half price on this whole thing.
Right.
I look at it as, oh, you know what? For us to have a good experience on set, I need this person there, and this person there. Because if we want to do this right and you want a really good video, I can guarantee it if we have those people there.
That's...
And the thing about it is I could do it myself. I can do a lot of things myself.
Right.
But I can't guarantee it when it's me trying to do everything.
Right.
But I'm like, I can pretty much guarantee if we have this guy, and this guy, and this guy, I can give you exactly what these people did over here. And I know how to do that. And so it's more about how can I have a good experience and walk away with the money that I want, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
It's looking at your business from the perspective of abundance. And not saying, I have to do this, but instead I get to do this. How can I do this in the best way possible so the customer has a great experience, so that I have a great experience? Everybody walks away from this thing going, yes, that was the right choice. I love that, because that can be applied to any business anywhere. Am I going to approach my business like I hate my job? My business owns me. I can't ever get a day off. Or am I going to look at it and go, this is how I'm going to really expand my life today?
Yeah, and honestly, I just had one of these experiences where I was kind of going back and forth from my old mentality and kind of my new mentality. So I have a friend from high school that I've been helping out with some videos over the past couple of years. And he doesn't have a huge budget. And so, but there's kind of like this personality/relationship play going on.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm sitting here I'm like, well, for me to have a good time with this, I want to actually do some pre-production. I want to actually walk through, and it's a process, that I enjoy doing. But if I don't get to do it, it's almost I don't want to say hurtful, but like it's not as fun. Like if we can't walk through all those things, and sometimes, you know, some projects you can't. And eventually it came down to a phone call because he just didn't want to go through all the steps. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to show up with a camera. We're going to shoot some cool stuff, and you're going to be happy with whatever I shoot. He's like, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. I was like, all right, you know, and so just being able to step away from that. But you know, the next time I work with them on a project, if I work with them, I'm going to say, well, was I okay with that? Did we have a good experience? Was the wife happy at the end of the day? That always plays into all my outside work, because it takes me away from her. And so she's like, I don't know if I want you working with them again.
That's not how his wife actually sounds. Just in case any of you were worried about it. I want you to work with him again. It's not like that either. Oh man, I love how just that little shift in your attitude towards your business can change the outcome that you create. And really, it may not change the material outcome as much as it changes just how you feel about the outcome that you've created. Yep,
definitely. No, there's been a bit of a mind shift, and I've always been told over the years that, you know, you're basically the sum total of like the 5 people you spend the most time with. And so I think about that every once in a while. I'm hanging around with Jay and Bob a little bit and these people, and I'm like, you know, how is this affecting me? And for me as a video guy, though, I'm hanging out with all the instructors on a pretty intense basis because we're there for the shoot. And so we kind of hear the course while we're shooting it, not as much as you might think, because as simple as the video stuff is, it does take focus. And so you're not hyper focused on the content, right? But then we get to take it in and do the edit on it. And then after that, so we potentially see the content, quote unquote, you know, 3 times at least. And so we do take in little nuggets. And as I watch one course and we shoot another course, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Mark Kohler especially, because we get to reshoot the tax and legal and just all the little nuggets of really neat stuff he gives us. And it's a lot of times it feels like it's the same bits, but I always get something new. I'm like, I didn't catch that before. Or, oh yeah, I was going to do that last year, but I never did it. Right. And like paying your family so that you can have tax benefits, and how to implement that with, you know, debit cards for your kids and the family business, and structuring so that you actually have protection through an LLC.
I feel like we need to throw a disclaimer in here right now and just say you need to watch the class to really fully comprehend what he's talking about. So
the classes are great though. It's been I've been able to watch some specifically for the information and actually go into the education and say, hey, I'm interested in that. The negotiations class I've essentially watched twice now. We just refilmed that with Bob. And is that one out yet? I don't think that one's out yet, is it?
That's sorry, that's what I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
So
coming to a theater near you
home
soon.
theater near you. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Coming soon.
So I watched the original version that's up in the education already.
Right.
That was one of the first classes I watched, and then watching him do it again, I'm like, oh, okay. There's like 30 different ways of, 30 types of negotiation skills you need to be aware of so that you can counter or use. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the real thing. I can totally see that. And I've used that one, but I wish I would have remembered that one. And
I love that class. That class has universal application, whether it's with my kids or with my business, with my wife, with people I work with, any of that. I love it. Not that I pick favorites.
I'm probably going to watch that one again in its entirety, just because I think the skill, and not from a manipulative standpoint, but just understanding and being able to lead better, really. Being able to take a situation, because there's a lot of times where, growing up and just life in general, I know I've been in a situation where I'm like, well, no one's really leading out right now. But I don't feel like, and I feel like I might be the better leader, but I don't feel comfortable with it. Whereas having the skill sets like, okay, well, we need to get from point A to point B. That's all that's really going on here. And so I'm going to facilitate that, right? It's not that I'm going to make all the decisions along the way, but I'm going to lead our minds so we don't feel confused, because the confused mind never purchases or whatever,
confused minds quit.
Right.
That is so true. And it's you're absolutely right. It's not about manipulation. It is about framing. a lot of times as people better understand what you're representing, they get on board and they're like, yeah, I get it. One of the problems with our society now that this is AM 500 and J-Star coming to you live. Sorry, I'm getting a little preachy here, but I think that we often do not listen enough. We wait for our turn to speak, but we're not necessarily hearing people. And negotiations is so much about hearing people effectively, listening actively. That's the word he uses a lot.
Yeah.
Active listening.
Yep, absolutely.
So I love that you're adopting so much from the classes, that you're learning how to apply it in different areas in your life that are not necessarily directly in a business setting format.
Yep. Yeah. No, it's applied definitely to some family situations. So, and being able to navigate, tweens turning into teens. It's been a fun year for me. But I feel like I have a little more patience and can step back a little bit. And not that I'm perfect. Tripped a whole bunch along the way, but I feel like I have tools to restructure it and regain some ground. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's another misconception I think that people have had in the past about never being able to mess up, because we all mess up. So we might as well own our mess and go from there.
Yeah, for sure.
So, it's been phenomenal getting to talk to you for just a couple of minutes. I have absolutely loved it. I have loved working with you. You are a phenomenal addition to the team.
Thank you. I've enjoyed working with you as well, Jay.
Except for the part where you keep getting surprised at how short I am. That part's kind of weird.
You are a tall man in my mind. That's all there is to it. So.
Oh, man. Well, on behalf of myself, thank you very much, and the whole Renatus home team. You're a rock star. As far as our production today, I want to send out happy thoughts towards Matt Snyder again. I want to thank Mr. Aaron Snyder, our head button pusher monkey man.
Eric Peterson.
Oh my gosh, I called him Aaron Snyder, didn't I? Aaron Snyder. I got Matt Snyder and Aaron Peterson.
They sound so similar.
So similar. This is coming from the guy who couldn't remember Mr. Thorup's last name.
I still don't. You just said it, I already forgot it.
Oh man, well, I'm a hot mess today. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember one more time to get out and vote. Thank you for your participation. Renatus rocks.